Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Jaya Srila Prabhupada Jaya Srila Prabhupada Jaya Srila Prabhupada Jaya Srila Prabhupada, Jaya Guru Deva Guru Deva Jaya Guru Deva, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol. अनंत गुरु वृंद की जय, श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय, हरे कृष्ण, निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे, हरि हरि बोल. Thank you so much, Mataji.
Pranam Sankirtan ki jai. Thank you, Mataji. Thank you, Suma Mataji. Hari bol. Hare Krishna to all the devotees. Pranam. As you all know that there is Nityanand Trayodashi on Thursday, this Thursday, and on Wednesday there is Varaha Dwadashi. So Lord Varaha's appearance day we are celebrating. So I'm just mentioning it because we are also covering that topic in Shrimad Bhagavatam. So today's speaker is His Grace Prasanatma Balram Prabhu. Hare Krishna Prabhu, Pranam. And Prabhu will cover up today 5 shlokas from shloka number 11 to 15, chapter number 18, canto 3. Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Mataji. So thank you so much. Dandas pranams to all the devotees. I hope my audio is clear. You're able to hear.
Yes, Prabhu. Yeah.
Thank you. So,
Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam Prabhuji.
so that was pronounced very auspicious week. So we have the Dvadasi and then as well as Nityananda Trayodasi. So very wonderful week, wonderful start of the week for me because I get an opportunity to talk on the topics on Varaha as well as on Lord Nityananda. So I should thank ICF, I should thank Narayani Kripamayi Mataji, who's the representative of ICF here. She's doing a wonderful job. Thank you so much, Mataji, for this. So we'll get started. Hare Krishna. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narotamam Devim Saraswatam Vyasam Tato Jaya Mudirayet Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhavati Naishtaki Mukham Karoti Vachalam Pungum Langayate Girim Yat Kripatam Maham Vande Sri Guru Dinatarinam Paramananda Madhavam Sri Chaitanya Ishwaram. Hare Krishna. So we are, I'll just share. Give me a minute. So you are able to see the screen?
Yes, Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yes,
Yeah.
Prabhu.
Thank you so much. So we are in the Shrimad Bhagavatam's 18th chapter of the 3rd canto. So we'll look at verses 11 to 15 like Mataji just said. So I'll read the first one and then we will all take turns. Each one of you can read the other verses also. And then we will also read the translation only. Okay. Ete vayam nyasahara rasaukasaam gatahriyo dhaya davitaste ishamahe atahapi kathanchit ajau teyam vayama balinotpadya vairam. So, anybody who wants to repeat this, please go ahead.
Chanda Mataji.
Prabhuji.
Yes, Mataji. Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Translation by Srila Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Mataji, you want to
Certainly,
read the verse, you can do that if you're okay with that.
yes, Prabhu. Ete vayam nyasahara rasaukasham gatahriyo gadaya dravitaste tishtamahe thapi kathanchidajau steyam kvayamo balinotpadya vairam. Thank you,
Mataji.
Prabhu. Krishna.
Thank you so much. Hare Krishna. And then someone else can do the translation.
Shanti Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. Translation by Prabhupada ki jai.
Sure.
Certainly we have stolen the charge of the inhabitants of Rasatala and have lost all shame. Although bitten by your powerful mace, I shall stay here in the water for some time because, having created enmity with a powerful enemy, I now have no place to go. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna. Then this one. So verse number 12. Would you like to try this?
Shanti Mataji.
Yeah, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Tvam badradhanam kila yutapadibo gadasvano svastaya ashvanuhah samstapya chasman brahmbrujashru svakhanam yasvam pradiknyam nadi bibhartya yasya.
Thank you so much, Mataji. So the translation.
Divya Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Translation by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. You are supposed to be the commander of many foot soldiers and now you may take prompt steps to overthrow us. Give us all your foolish talks and wipe out the cares of your kith and kin by slaying us. One may be proud, yet he does not deserve a seat in an assembly if he fails to fulfill his promised words. Hare Krishna Mataji, Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandavat
Hare
Pranams.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
So we can see all these verses, how the Lord is speaking to Hiranyaksha. Yeah, verse 13.
Yeah, Sudha Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Pranam.
Hare Krishna.
Maitreya Uvacha. So adikshipto bhagavata pralabdhascha rushabhrisham ajaharo banam krodam vidayamano ahiradiva. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much. And
Shilpa
the
Mataji.
translation.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Hare.
Sri Maitreya said, the demon, being thus challenged by the personality of Godhead, became angry and agitated, and he trembled in anger like a challenged cobra. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So we are seeing the reaction of Hiranyaksha. So we'll look at the verse 14 also. Who would like to read this?
Sindhu Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Hare Krishna Prabhuji, pranams. Text 14. Shrinjan amarshita swashan manyu prachalitendriyaha ashadya tarasha daityo gadhayanyahanathharim. Translation.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Good.
Sarvana Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Translation by Srila Prabhupada, Jai Srila Prabhupada. Listening indignantly, all his senses shaken by wrath, the demon quickly sprang upon the Lord and dealt him a blow with his powerful mace. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Yes. So now here we are seeing how Hiranyaksha is reacting. Okay, the last verse, 15.
Anita Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Bhagavanstu gadavegam visrishtam ripunorasi avanchayat tiraschino yogaruda ivantakam. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji. And the translation?
Namita Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji. The Lord, however, by moving slightly aside, dodged the violent mace blow aimed at his breast by the enemy, just as an accomplished yogi would elude death. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So thank you so much for all that. Let's try to get that verse. Yes. Okay, so here, these verses actually is a continuation of the previous ones where you all had seen up to the point where the Lord Bor, Varaha Swami, he is actually lifting Mother Earth and then he is taking her back from the Patal or the place under the ocean. And then from there, the earth is being lifted and then she on his way to put her back in the place where she has to be. So just try to look at the background a little bit, and then we will see what these verses are saying. What is actually happening in this verse? In this verse, the Lord is speaking. So after he has put Mother Earth back in its place, then he turns his attention towards Hiranyaksha, the demon who is chasing. And he actually begins to speak. So that's what we are seeing. Sorry. This speech by the Lord actually agitates Hiranyaksha. So he becomes mad with anger. And then he strikes with his mace. That is the weapon that he is carrying. So he is striking the Lord with the intention to kill the Lord. And then the Lord actually very casually, easily sidesteps or dodges that particular blow from the mace. As Hiranyaksha is swinging it, Lord just sidesteps. So this is what these shlokas are. There is a literal meaning of these verses, but we'll try to understand what Prabhupada is saying and what is the significance of all these actions that are being performed and the reactions that Hiranyaksha is going through, why he is going through, and so on and so forth. That's going to be our discussion. So before we get started, Om Ajnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Shurunmilitam Yena Asmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Nitinamine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschayata Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shri Vasadi Gauravakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So seeking all the blessings of all the devotees, the Vaishnava devotees who are here, kindly bless me so that I'll be able to do some justice to these wonderful narrations that are there. And doing it as a service, seva for my Guru, the Guru Parampara, for the pleasure of the Lordships, and for my own purification. On this note, we will start. So like I said, a little bit of a background just to set the continuity of the whole thing. Hiranyaksha is actually a very extremely successful person. If you look at material consideration, so he was very powerful, we know that, and then he was very wealthy, so he was ruling the entire creation, and then he was very attractive also. And then what is the action that he is doing? Even though he had all these opulence with him, then what is he doing? He is seeking out the Lord. So now everybody seeks out the Lord, right? I mean, all of us, I mean, everyone, every person in a human form seeks out the Lord. But what is the purpose for which he is seeking out the Lord? He wants to kill the Lord. I mean, that's a shocker. I mean, that's something that as Vaishnavas, it becomes so difficult to comprehend it itself, you know. So this attitude that Hiranyaksha is displaying is the attitude of a demon. Is defying the authority of the Supreme Lord. So now from this we can understand that demons are like in Sanskrit, if you have to say, they are the asuras. So there are these two categories of people, the suras and the asuras. What is the primary difference between them? We will try to look at that a little bit. And so what is the difference actually? There's only one difference. So sometimes, you know, in pictures, we have the asuras depicted as somebody who's very ugly, very ferocious, and all that. That's more a reflection of their mind or their consciousness. They could be very beautiful, they could be very handsome, they could be very strong, they could be very attractive. So they also possess these qualities, the asuras, like the suras or the devatas. Now, the devatas, of course, are depicted as somebody who is very beautiful to look at, and so on and so forth. But then, as per the scriptures, there is only one thing that differentiates. I mean, it need not be like that. They could be beautiful too. They also have opulence. They also are very nice, sweet talkers. They are not always aggressive. They can come across as somebody who's very, what do you call, somebody adorable, and you know, that kind of a thing. But then there is one thing that sets them apart from the devas or the suras. What is it that sets them apart? Anybody wants to try? What is this one difference that is there? Essential primary difference which separates a sura and an asura. What is that?
Envious nature, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Can I try?
Yeah, you can. But envy, Mataji, even suras like the devatas, like Indra also displays envy. So does he become an asura?
The Suras are devotees of the Lord and Asuras are against the Lord.
Yeah, so that is one thing. Thank you so much, Mataji. Thank you for that. So that is one aspect that separates Suras and the Asuras, is that the Asuras do not accept the supremacy of the Lord. It's not like they don't know who's Lord. They might be aware, they have everything, but they don't accept the supremacy of the Lord. They defy his authority. And by nature, they are rebellious, and then they are revolt. They try to revolt against the Lord. And that is what we are seeing here. Not just in the mind, but physically also. Hiranyaksha is revolting. He wants to go seek the Lord, and then he wants to kill him. So he understands, or he believes in the existence of the Lord, right? That is why he's seeking out the Lord. He understands that the Lord has come in the Varaha form. And then he's chasing. And then when he is chasing and he's being ignored, in the previous verses we have seen, it agitates him a lot, Hiranyaksha. And then he's chasing the Lord, and then he's saying, "Why are you running away?" And then he's saying all ill things about the Lord. And then he's trying to condemn, because see, they are all Kshatriyas, So if somebody, and then is being challenged for a fight, and then you see the Lord is running away. So this Lord can do anything. So we've seen, in fact, in another occasion also, when Krishna, as in Krishna Avatara, when he did that, he was called as Ranachor. So he is the one who ran away from the battlefield. So here also he is moving away. He's not allowing these words to disturb him. He is just doing what he has to do. And what is he doing? He's carrying Mother Earth. He wants to put it back. So there's a lesson for all of us. He's in fact teaching the Devatas not to be disturbed by the demoniac nature of people or the Asuras, but then continue to do what you're doing without being affected by it. And that is what Lord is showing there. So and then after he puts Mother Earth back, and then he turns towards Hiranyaksha, who was chasing him, and then he begins to speak. So this is what we are seeing, where the Lord is actually saying, what is the Lord saying? That he is saying that, I have been, let me stay with you, because you have actually said so many things when you were trying to chase me. In the sense, you said, I will kill you, I will do this and all that. I mean, he was talking ill about the Lord all the while when this chase was happening, when he was trying to follow the Lord. And then, so the Lord is saying, here now, I'm giving you an opportunity to go ahead and then kill me, so that you can fulfill your own words, or you can be true to your own words. You said you will kill me, so go ahead and then kill me, so that your kith and kin are not, at least they will hold you in some esteem, they will give you some importance. Otherwise, if you don't do that, then they'll say, this is a man who just spoke and then he didn't do anything eventually. So that was a very important aspect, even for the Asuras also. The words that they speak, they will have to do it. They'll have to do it and show. Like, say, somebody says, I will do this particular seva, and then be a little casual or frivolous about it, and then not end up doing it. That's more a symptom of this, the current yuga, the Kali Yuga. But then in the earlier yugas, it was not like that. Like there is this saying in Hindi, what was that? Pran jaye par vachan na jaye. So they would even lose they were prepared to lose their life. Then they would ensure that they carry out the words or the statements that they made. So, or any promise that is given. That was always adhered to, and that was very prime for them. So he's saying, and then that is what it is said here, that even importance is given. A person may occupy a seat of position, but if he is not sticking to his words, then it is of no use. To that effect, the conversation is going on. And then actually what happens is, when the Lord actually is insulting. He says, like, now that you have, you want to drive me away, then let me just see what it is. So actually Prabhupada is saying in that particular verse, or the purport, Prabhupada is saying that, the demon should have actually known that God cannot be driven out of any place. He's trying to drive him out, whereas he cannot be driven out. So why he cannot be driven out? All of us are aware of it, because he is everywhere. How can you drive out somebody who is everywhere? It is like trying to drive out air from this place where we are staying. You can't do that. It is everywhere, and then you can't drive out. It's going to come. Whatever effort that you do, it is going to be a wasted effort. But then Hiranyaksha, because of his disposition, because of his attitude, he is not aware of that. So the Lord is actually saying that I shall stay here in the water for some time, because having created enmity with a powerful enemy, he's saying you're a very powerful enemy. I have no place to go, so I cannot go anywhere, which means he's indirectly saying, I'm not going anywhere, I will not go anywhere. Now, let's see what happens, that kind of a thing. And Prabhupada says that it is a demoniac mentality to think um, like wanting to drive out the Lord from somewhere, because they don't have this particular knowledge. What is the knowledge that we are talking about? The knowledge that the Lord is everywhere. That is the first thing that we learn. The Lord is omnipresent. All religions, they accept this fact that the Lord is present everywhere. And in our Shastras, we have wonderful details of how the Lord is omnipresent, how he has expanded himself, how through his energies, through his internal energy, and then how he is present everywhere. And he is present everywhere, meaning he's even present between the space that is existing between two atoms. So, the minutest of the space also he is present. And we might call it as Brahman, we might call it as Paramatma, because he is expanded as Paramatma and then living in everybody's hearts. He's also expanded as Shirodaka Sai Vishnu, and then he's present in all the animate and inanimate things. So everywhere the Lord is present. So we have a detailed description of that. So it's not very hard for us to understand that you cannot drive out the Lord. But then Hiranyaksha was not in a position to understand that, because he was ignorant. Why was he ignorant? Because he was completely blinded by false ego, me, mine. Whatever I see, it all belongs to me. And then, or I want it all to belong to me. I will take over whatever I see. I'm the Lord of everything that I survey. These are all thoughts of a person who's in ignorance. Because for a person who's not ignorant, who's learned, they realize that everything belongs to the Lord. Now, what is the verse that supports that? This is perfectly supported by a verse from, anybody wants to try? Which is the verse that I'm trying to bring out here?
Prabhuji, Aham Sarvasva Prabhu.
Okay, fine. Aham Sarvasya Prabhu. But I'm not looking at Bhagavad Gita this time. So this is in the Isha Upanishad. Anyone is aware of it. But what you said is correct. Thank you for that.
Prabhu, can you come again with the question, what you were saying?
There is a particular verse which says how the Lord is present everywhere. And this is from Isha Upanishad. Anybody is aware of this verse?
Prabhuji, is it Purnamada Purnamidam?
Sarva Karana Karanam.
Yes, I heard Ishavasyamidam Sarvam. So that's the very first verse. Thank you so much. Purnamada Purnamidam is also the invocation mantra, so we'll try to touch a little bit on that. But now, this particular verse is very, very important. Prabhupada has given so much of information in the purport, by way of his purport, which explains the position of what is it, how we should look at whatever we are seeing. So we'll try to dwell a little bit on that, so that we can understand this particular verse in all entirety. And then that will help us to see things as not belonging to me, but everything belonging to the Lord. So this is the first verse of Isha Upanishad, where it is said, Ishavasyam idam sarvam yat incha jagatyam jagat tene tyaktena bunjita ma ghriya kasyasvid dhanam. So the translation is like this. It says everything animate or inanimate that is within the universe is controlled and owned by the Lord. It is not only controlled, it is owned. So he owns it and then he controls it. One should therefore accept only those things necessary for himself, which are set aside as his quota. And one should not accept other things, knowing well to whom they belong. So to whom they belong to the Lord. So you should only accept things that are necessary for himself. So to keep body and soul together and to carry out your duty. So there are only that much. And there is a quota that is set aside. what is the significance of this? How do we understand what is the quota that is set aside for us? The quota is a function of our karma. So what is it that we come with? What are the good and the bad things that we have done, and then what is being acted out? So based on that, there is a certain quota that is set aside for us for the birth that we have occupied. So it will be given to us. So we just need to be happy or contented within that and not look at or aspire for anything beyond that. And this is what the verse is saying. So the first line of this verse is very important, which is Ishavasyam Dam Sarvam. Everything belongs to the Lord. Everything is controlled by the Lord. So once we understand this, then we begin to realize this slowly by the mercy of the Lord. Then what happens is we will not be so attached. Generally, why is it that we become attached to things, whatever we see? Because we don't know whom they belong to. Modern civilization, what have they done? They have downplayed the existence of the Lord. They have underplayed it to certain extent that they are even questioning the existence of the Lord, leave alone He being the owner of everything that is being created here. So thereby, they have helped us to forget the aspect of the Lord. So now, without the Lord, when we look at the creation of the Lord, and we don't know how it has got created or what is it, then we think, oh, that's something nice, I need it. That is something there, let me possess it. So that is that saying that they say, no, I am the Lord of all that I survey. Whatever I see, I want it. This is a quality or that is a aspect that is there in all of us. In some, it is at a very great extent. And Hiranyaksha is someone who's got that to a very great extent. He just wanted everything that he saw, and he could control it because he was powerful. So he had the means, he had the ability, and to conquer or to claim ownership of whatever he could see. So in this way, he went about harassing people and all those things that followed through. And he went to that extent that he even put Mother Earth into the ocean, and then he disturbed her path and all that. And then, so he was so destructive. So look at the actions that they do when they don't have the knowledge, and then they have the power. It is like given somebody not having knowledge, but then given too much of power. So that is an asura. Especially asuras like Hiranyakashipu or Hiranyaksha or Ravana, all of them. They all had power, they had opulence, they had ability to do things, but then they didn't have the acceptance of the Lord, and that is why they are asuras. And so they ended up doing things which were harmful for everybody, not only for themselves, but of course, whatever they do is definitely harmful for themselves because they are incurring karmas because of that, and then they are making their next birth secured. I mean, this birth and death cycle, there's no breakaway from that. They are actually making those cycles happen more and more. They are extending the cycles more by doing such activities, and then they are putting people into inconvenience and so on and so forth. So this is a aspect of how without knowledge, then you have a situation which is not very good, and that is what is being displayed at a very extreme level by Hiranyaksha. But now we will also have to understand, oh, that is Hiranyaksha or Hiranyakashipu. They are demons. I am not. No, we also have these demoniac qualities within us. Those attitudes are there within us. So it is just that it did not manifest in the way it manifested for Hiranyaksha. And another aspect is we don't have that much of ability. So we are not able to do anything. So we might not really go out and conquer the world and then say that it is all in our mind, though in the mind we want it. Correct or not? So that's how everybody is. Everybody's attitude is like that. So this aspect of taking away the Lord has confused people so much that they try to say this creation is for our own enjoyment, or sometimes they have twisted it so much that they say whatever is the creation that you see, the Lord has created it. So they accept that the Lord has created it, but then He has created it for us. This is an assumption. Yeah, okay, it's been created for us, but to what extent is being very clearly given here. Ma dhira kasyasvit dhanam. Whatever is your quota, only that you have to take. If somebody is making a big, huge cauldron of payasam or whatever sweet that you like, it doesn't mean that the whole thing is for me only. You take what you can take, like maybe one, and then leave it for the others. So that should be the attitude, like live and let live. But today's world is live and let die. I don't care. I don't mind what happens to others. As long as I am comfortable, things are okay for me. That's it. So this is how these demons also behaved. And then we know what happened to them. So then, in fact, the Lord is actually bringing out this aspect of how the nature is trying to agitate him, Hiranyaksha, by speaking. And then in the next verse, you see that when he's speaking these words, then he becomes agitated like a cobra. That is a comparison that is given. So, and then he becomes so angry, and that even further rational thinking is not possible by Hiranyaksha, because we know that anger destroys whatever little knowledge that we have, that also gets destroyed. Now, one fact that he didn't have the knowledge, or probably even if he knew, he didn't have the realized knowledge. And then, because of anger, it became even more clouded. So there is no way that it could surface up. Whatever little he knew about Adhyatmika was not surfacing up because it was completely clouded by anger. And in that anger, what does he do? He lifts up the mace, and then he is rushing forward to strike at the Lord himself. Instead of paying obeisances and surrendering to the Lord, he wants to kill the Lord, and he is running there to strike. So this is, physically, it might look a little disturbing, but then most of our actions are tantamounting to this in this particular world. I mean, especially if you look at the outside world, they deny the existence of the Lord. They want to kill the Lord. They want to separate the Lord, and then the Lord. So, like this, we can say, I mean, we cannot take solace in the fact that that is a demon, so he went and hit the Lord. No, I mean, okay, that physically he did it, but in our hearts also, we are all like Hiranyaksha, sometimes even worse. It's just that we have not been given the powers to demonstrate it, so to speak. So now he is also the Lord. After making him angry, then he is rushing there, and then he is swinging at him, and then the Lord very casually sidesteps. This sidestepping is actually, there is a wonderful analogy in that particular thing where it says that the Lord is sidestepping that blow, like how yogi sidesteps birth and death cycle. So this is, and then there is a little bit we will try to discuss on that also, so that we understand the mood of a yogi. But before we get in there, we should understand this. I mean, I was talking about this demoniac nature, and then I was also saying about Sura and the Asuras. So what is the nature of a Sura? What is the nature of an Asura? We'll try to see. And in fact, Krishna has dedicated one complete chapter on this in Bhagavad Gita. Anybody can tell what is that chapter that we are referring to?
16th. Chapter 16 of Bhagavad Gita.
Chapter 16, yeah, thank you so much. What is the heading of that chapter?
Divine and the demonic qualities.
Divine and demonic nature. Divine and demonic qualification.
Yes, the divine and the demoniac qualities. So Krishna talks in length about this. And then what does he say there? If you look at, I'll not go into the verses in the interest of time, but we'll look at the translation. So where the Supreme Lord is saying there are certain aspects which are qualities which are divine in nature, which are suric, not asuric, opposite of that. What are they? Fearlessness. Now, fearlessness, even Hiranyaksha was fearless, but his fearlessness is by strength of his ego, false ego, and then and the strength that he possessed. So it was not the fearlessness that comes with the fact that the Lord is there in my heart and then he's protecting me. So this is the fearlessness that we are talking about here. So the first quality is fearlessness. And then there are always purification of one's existence. Always there's an effort to improve oneself. Whatever be our position, we try to purify ourselves. We try to take one step and then become a little more better than what we were. So purification of one's existence is a quality which is divine in nature. And then cultivation of spiritual knowledge, trying to seek knowledge, cultivate the spiritual knowledge, trying to understand from the authority, and all of this, when we are seeking knowledge, means then the aspect of surrender has to be there. Because if we want to know something, we will have to approach somebody, then we will have to have humility. Without that, this process will not work. So humility is also inbuilt in the aspect of cultivation of spiritual knowledge. And then because we realize that we don't know, so I want it. So then you go and then you seek. And then you seek in a humble way. Tadvidhi pranipatena pariprashnena seva. So like this cultivation of spiritual knowledge. Then charity. So charity is like when they see somebody in distress, they want to help. So they give charity. Paradukha dukhi. So that's another quality. And then they have self-control. There are desires within them also, but then there is an amount of self-control that is there. They realize that there is a time and place and situation for everything, and they control it. And they know that excess is also not good. Too much of anything is good for nothing. In fact, they say even Amrut becomes wish if it is consumed in excess. So that's our Vedic understanding, right? So self-control, the aspect of self-control is very much necessary. So they try to follow that. They try to have self-control. Then they perform sacrifices because they realize that the human body that I have, it has to be used in performance of yajnas and sacrifices as an offering to the Lord. So that is sacrifice means as an offering to somebody, and that somebody is the Lord. And then, of course, study of the Vedas, that is Svadhyaya. So trying to read and then understand, ask, and then they do austerity. Because austerity is not done, and they know that they will be influenced by the material world. They'll be influenced by Maya. So austerities are necessary for that. You have to keep oneself busy, keep oneself tired. Prabhupada used to say that all his disciples will have to be busy from morning till evening. Morning, they get up at, say, 3:33, whatever, attend Mangalarti, then do their rounds, then quickly go out for book distribution, have a quick prasadam break, then go out, and then they are busy the whole day. Then they come back, tired, bone tired. Then they just don't want anything else. They just want to sleep. So then, like 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, whatever. And then again, morning they get up, and then again the same thing happens. So Prabhupada said that is best for them because that type of austerity will keep Maya away. They don't have time to think which Maya we are talking about, the Maya that attacks the mind. There is no time to think of anything. So sometimes we are so busy that sometimes, we might crib and then say, oh, I'm so busy, I'm not able to think of the Lord. But we should be happy that we were busy and involved than doing things. Even though the Lord's remembrance did not come, but at least we should be happy that the unwanted things also did not come. So that way, it's a benefit for us. Lord's knowledge, of course, will come by the mercy of the Lord. Lord's remembrance will come. But then we should be happy that He's taken away those remembrance of all the unwanted things. And then simplicity, not complicating our lives, leading a simple life, being non-violent, not wanting to create any harm to anyone or any discomfort to anyone. Anyone as in not just human beings, any entity, any creation of the Lord. And then being truthful, not trying to be calculative, not trying to control somebody or not trying to unduly take advantage of somebody, nothing of that sort, just being truthful. Then free from anger, not being angry. Then renounce things, renounce material things. Then tranquility, samadharshi, tranquil. So nothing disturbs them. Like samadharshi, nothing disturbs. And then aversion to finding fault. They're not finding any fault with anyone. There's this wonderful story where Duryodhana actually is telling, he gives two tasks to, one to Yudhishthir and one to, not Duryodhana, Dronacharya, the Guru. Is giving two tasks to his disciples when they were all in the Gurukul at that time before the war. So they all studied together. We know that, right? The cousins. So there he gives one particular task to Yudhishthir and another task to Duryodhana. So he tells Duryodhana to go and find somebody, a very good person, somebody who's best, very good person in the whole kingdom. Go one day, find out, and then bring him to me. So Duryodhana says, okay, I'll go. And then he goes around and then he calls Yudhishthir also. And then Prince Yudhishthir. And then he says, Prince Yudhishthir, go and find out somebody, one bad person in the society and then come back. So now, again, both of them go the whole day, they're there and come back empty-handed. So now Yudhishthir, everybody is surprised. What does this mean? One person went out to find a bad person. He has come back empty-handed, which means that he didn't find anyone bad. Another person went out to find a good person, but he also came back empty-handed, which means that there is not a single good person there. So neither a good person nor a bad person is existing. How is this possible? The rest of them are perplexed. And then Dronacharya is actually saying, see, good and bad is there everywhere. But look at the people who are looking for good and look at the person who is looking for bad. So Duryodhana, because his nature is such that the demoniac nature, that he couldn't find anyone good. He was able to only see the bad and the not so good things in everyone. So he discounted everyone. He didn't find anyone good. He came back and said, I didn't find anyone good, because the bad was filled so much in him that he was only seeing bad in others. It's like somebody going with green shades and then seeing the whole world green. So you will not be able to look at the red color and then take out the red from the rest of the colors. Likewise, for Yudhishthir Maharaj, the Prince Yudhishthir, what happened? He is so much of goodness is in him that he did not see any bad quality in anyone. So everything was good. It's a Paramahansa stage, kind of a stage he is in. So he couldn't find anyone bad. Everybody was good for him. So he said, I couldn't find any bad person. So like this, not finding fault, that's the aspect that I was talking about. Aversion to fault finding is there in a person who's full of goodness, because he or she will only see the goodness in another person and ignore the rest. So there is an aversion to find fault. Even if there is a fault, glaring fault that is seen, we'll say it as situational, circumstantial. He's generally not like that, but then given the circumstances he reacted, I'm sure he will get over it. So he is not finding any fault. So that's another nature, divine nature. Then having compassion for all living entities, that we discussed already. Then there is freedom from covetousness, gentleness, modesty, steady determination. So we can go on with these qualities and then try to understand them. There is steady determination. There is vigor. They are not lazy. They are not kamchor. They are not like, say, oh, I'll just sit now. I have become this. I don't want to do anything. That is again not correct. And then they forgive. Even if there is a mistake, they forgive. They have a lot of fortitude. And then they are clean. They are free from envy and passion for honor. They don't want to be honored. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu excellently displayed this quality of not craving. Trinatapi sunichena tarurapi sahishnuna. In that it says, not having any liking for any honor or recognition or being acknowledged or any of those things. Just to exist in the way and then do what you have to do. So there is no passion for honor. So these are transcendental qualities. Krishna is saying, son of Bharata, these belong to godly men endowed with divine nature. So the very first 3 verses where divine nature is explained. After that, Krishna goes on and then he talks about the demoniac nature. What are those demoniac nature? We will try to see. So what are they? Pride, arrogance, conceit, anger, harshness, ignorance. So these are some of the demoniac natures. And then there is also, they don't know, the demoniac people, they do not know what is to be done and what is not to be done. So you can see now all these, how it is aligning to Hiranyaksha. They are not clean, they don't have a proper behavior. There is no truth found in them. They will say anything they want. And then they will also say that this world is unreal with no foundation, no God in control. So because there is no God in control, he wanted to control. That was his mindset also. They say it is produced of sex desires. So anything that I see, I want to enjoy. That's the disposition that they have. And then they follow such conclusions. The demoniac who have lost to themselves and who have no intelligence engage in unbeneficial work, horrible work meant to destroy the world. Hiranyaksha destroyed the world actually. He put her down into Patal. So these are glaring examples you can see, and that is what Krishna is saying in the 16th chapter. They're taking shelter of lust. They become absorbed in pride or false prestige, and they are attracted to impermanent things. So these are there. And then they are bewildered by false ego. They are bewildered by their strength. They think they are, and then they have so much of pride. They have lust. They have anger. All these negative things are demoniac, and they disregard scriptural injunctions and act according to their own whims, and they attain neither perfection nor happiness. So Krishna is very nicely elaborating in these 24 verses about divine and demoniac nature, in which demoniac nature is explained more. And then 3 gates that lead to hell is also told there, which is lust, anger, and greed. And that is what is seen here in Hiranyaksha, and that is definitely leading him to hell in the sense, of course, it's a pastime, so he has to take another birth. That is different. But then by these pastimes, we can, by the message from Gita, we can understand how this leads us to hell. What is hell? Actually, That is continued existence in the material world. So continued existence in birth, in the cycle of birth and death, and then suffering for all the actions and suffering the reactions of the negative actions that we have done, so on and so forth, which will bind us further and further. So this is the aspect that Lord Bohr is trying to bring out. And then he's saying how he gets very agitated. Whereas the Lord was not agitated. When the same ill words were spoken, there was no effect on the Lord. He just did what he has to do. And then he turns around and then he confronts him. So in this way, he is actually teaching everyone a lesson, saying that you be involved in carrying out the work of the Lord, or in carrying out in your own prescribed duties, and then not get agitated. If you are agitated, then it is the demoniac quality that is manifesting within us, which is responsible for that. So let's understand that, and then like an yogi trying to sidestep the cycle of birth and death, like how the Lord sidestepped the blow that is coming from the mace. Very easily he sidestepped, because the yogi also very easily is able to climb on, put his feet on top of death and then move over to the realm of no birth, no death. That is the Vaikuntha, so which means liberation. So the yogi who's doing the bhakti yoga, he doesn't have any fear, because he knows that the Lord is there and he will take care of me. There is no fear. And for the people who are fearful, they are because they are ignorant of this aspect, and they are not yogis. So they have the fear of future. They have the fear of, so they go to an astrologer. So in fact, in the lecture that I was listening to, I think it was His Holiness Radhanath Maharaj, he was saying that how the entire economy is hinging on the fear aspect. Fear of being rejected makes people run to beauty parlors, to gyms and other places so that they look attractive and they are not rejected. And then the fear of pain and the fear of suffering makes them run to hospitals. That the whole medical industry is there, which is that caters to that particular fear. Fear of future makes them run to astrologers. Fear of natural disturbances is always there, so they try to do so many things, design buildings which take care of earthquake, build walls so that flooding doesn't happen, so many things. So the whole economy is existing because of the fear. And of course, the arms, the defense, everything is done for defending oneself, and this is fear of life itself. So like this, this fear is not there. That means then we are not bound to the cycle of birth and death. We're actually stepping on, and that is what the yogis do. Yogis are not fearful of anything, because they know that the Lord is there, and ultimately I'm not this body. Yogi means then he has knowledge also, and he realizes I'm not this body. So this is the renunciation that comes with this, the understanding that comes with the knowledge is definitely helpful for us to lead our lives in the way it has to be led. How Lord Bohr led his activity of carrying Mother Earth and putting it back, not being mindful of this great Asura at that point. And then after completion, then he turns. So like that, this message is there for all of us to understand. And then, yeah, so actually, I mean, if you look at these shlokas only, then these are the things that we can think of. So one is that Hiranyaksha did not have the right knowledge. And then the Lord actually, in a very sarcastic way, says, I have nowhere to go. You're a very powerful enemy. So there is sarcasm which is lost on him. But then, yes, we can understand that. And then because we know that the Lord is everywhere, and then we can understand how the Lord is actually playing with him. In the subsequent verses, you will see how he continues to fight with him. And then finally, he decides to end it. And then in 1 second, he just ends it off. So I don't want to say that and then let it out. So subsequent speakers will cover that. So we can understand by these verses how Hiranyaksha had no knowledge, and the Lord was actually playing with him. But then at the same time, he was giving a message to everyone on how to be self-controlled, how to not give in to things that people are saying, and then do your work, do your duty, and then not be bewildered by gold or opulence and all that. Because I mean, of course, Hiranyaksha was very opulent and then very strong and all that. Not be bewildered by all of that. Just do what you have to do. So that's the message that the Lord is saying here. And then we also saw how, I mean, by virtue of these verses, we also saw the demoniac and the divine qualities that are there, as told by Krishna in that entire chapter. We saw it in brief. And then we also saw how knowledge helps, and the knowledge of Isha Vasyam Idam Sarvam becomes a very important thing. I'll just give you a small example on how to comprehend the Ishavasyam Idam Sarvam. And if that is not there, then how we want to lord it over. Because the acceptance of the Lord is not there, or the question, it is questioned, the existence of the Lord is questioned, and then we are seeing objects that we see without the connection to the Lord, then we want to possess it. But if we realize that it belongs to the Lord, then that possessiveness goes away. I'll just give you a small example for this. And this I heard from one of the lectures. So he was saying, now supposing, let us say we are walking on the road, and then we see a person ahead going. Then he, for some reason, he's pulling out something from his pocket, a handkerchief or something. And you realize that a few, say a few thousand-rupee notes fell off from his pocket while he was pulling it out. So what happens immediately? We realize, I mean, a normal person who's not demonic, I mean, a regular person, I'm saying. What does he do, he or she do? He immediately realize, oh, it has fallen down. They'll run up and then they'll take that and then pick up and then give it to him. You didn't want to enjoy. The enjoyment thought did not come. When does that enjoyment thought come? Now let us say the same, you are only working, but then you didn't see it fall off from that person. Bundles of 100 rupee, 1,000 rupee notes or whatever. I mean, there are no 1,000 rupee notes. I'm just saying. So now you see it lying on the road. Now you see it in and around, nobody is around. You don't know whom it belongs to. When you don't know whom it belongs to, you have this desire to pick it up and then use it for yourself. This is quite natural, isn't it? When you knew in the earlier case that it belonged to somebody, that thought did not come. You wanted to return it quickly. But then in the second instance where you didn't know whom it belonged to, of course, the right thing is to find out who the owner or not. But then keeping that aside, the thought in the mind, it comes, oh, there's something there. Maybe I can use this for buying what I couldn't buy last week or something like that. So then you want to possess it. Possessiveness comes in because you don't know whom it belongs to. Now, expand this into the creation, into everything that you see. Oh, I want this land. I want this property. I want that car. I want this. I want everything for myself. But we should realize that everything is actually Lord's proprietorship. He's owning it and he's controlling it. If we have this understanding of this verse and the purport that is written by Prabhupada, the realization of it, then to that extent we will realize, anyway, it is not belonging to me. I'm more a custodian because it is given to me. As a custodian, then we will have greater responsibility to safeguard it rather than as an owner. Correct or not? That again we can understand by, let us say, your car broke down. You have a car and then you use it in a certain way. And that one day your car has broken down, you borrow your friend's car. On that day, will you not drive carefully? Will you not be a little more responsible than how it would be if it were your own car? Because you are a custodian of the car. You know that you don't own it. It belongs to your friend. I want to keep it at least in the same shape. Now, I don't want anything. Okay, the reason could be if I dent it, I have to spend money. That is secondary. But at least the thought is there because you know you don't own it. So you be a little more careful. Then because you want to give it to him in that same shape, you don't want to destroy. So that's the attitude of not owning, but then being a custodian. And that is what is highlighted. So we'll have to look at everything, house that we possess, everything. We are just custodian. The souls that are under our ownership, like family members, friends, everybody. So we are just custodians. If we are playing a role of an controller, like a head of the family, then we are just custodian. They all belong to Krishna, but they are being given to me. So let me take care of them. Now we'll know how to take care of them, make them more Krishna conscious. So everything falls in place. We understand the shloka, and then we realize who's the owner. And by having these examples to help us remember, like a person who saw that bundle of note, he didn't know who was the owner, so that saving came in to pick it up and then use it for one's own self. That is what happens because we detached Krishna from all the things that we see. So we don't know who it is, who's the owner. We think, oh, it is for my enjoyment. So let me go ahead. And what's wrong in it? And we have a whole lot of logic that supports it, and we believe in it also. But then the moment we realize, oh, wait a minute, what I'm seeing now actually belongs to somebody else, and immediately give it to him and then forget all such thoughts and then continue our way. So like that, with these examples, we can understand how this verse becomes very important. And this is the primary verse for us to accept completely. And if we understand this verse, then all our actions will be wonderful. It will all help us to move towards divine from demoniac. This one verse is what separates a divine and a demoniac person. That's all, nothing else. So on that note, I'll stop here. And then I was also told, I mean, we started a little 5 minutes late, so I'll take this liberty of taking another 5 minutes and then also take the opportunity to speak a little bit on Nityananda Prabhu. So now, auspicious, like Mataji said, 22nd is Nityananda Trayodasi. So Nityananda Trayodasi, of course, it's giving us the chance to remember who is Nityananda Prabhu. Nityananda Prabhu, we know, is an incarnation of Lord Balaram. So the Lord does not come alone. Parshada. So one of the aspect that separates Krishna from the others is that he's always seen with his associates. He's never alone. You don't see Krishna alone. He is with a cow, or he is with gopas, he is with gopis, he is with I mean, you with in the forest with the animals, with the plants. He's never alone. He's not somebody who's somewhere sitting alone and meditating or in a trance. And even though he is what do you call Atmaram, means somebody who doesn't need others for his own pleasure. We are not Atmarams. We need somebody else. If we are alone, then we cannot be happy. But the Lord is not like that. He doesn't depend on anything external for his happiness. So just by himself, he is happy. I mean, we should not think that the Lord needs others. Only then he is happy. No, it's not like that. In spite of that, Lord is always in association of his devotees, or Parshadas. So if you look at any picture or any Leela, there's always associates who are there. So when Krishna said, so how did Krishna came about? He came about because Mother Earth went crying to Brahma. Brahma took Mother Earth, and then she's being burdened, and then she's in difficulty. So then she went to Shirodika Sai Vishnu. Then Shirodika Sai Vishnu said, "Don't worry, you will soon be revealed of your thing. Krishna himself will come, or I will come as Krishna, and then take care of it." And then he tells Brahma, tell all the devas and everybody that they all can come and then take birth and then wait for my arrival. So like that, Krishna wants people. So it's not like he'll come alone and then go alone, or it's not like that. So in that note, we should always understand whenever Krishna's appearance happens, or Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is non-different from Krishna, when he came also, all his associates came. So the primary associate of Lord is Balaram. So in the same way, primary associate of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was Nityananda Prabhu. And he assisted the Lord in the preaching movement, in making sure that whatever Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wanted to give, whatever message he wanted to give to the world, so Nityananda Prabhu was assisting him. He played that role. He was, of course, elder. So we can see that in all the other incarnations also. When Lord Ram came, then we know that Lakshmana was there, and then he was his right hand there, and then he came as a younger brother. And then when Krishna came, then Balaram came as the elder brother. So likewise here in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's avatar, then Lord Nityananda also came. And then there are so many pastimes. So that is there. Like his childhood pastimes, he always wanted to enact the pastimes of the Lord. So that was what he was doing. And then later on, he assisted in so many ways. So we can see the role played by him in the purification of Jagai and Madai. And then in even sending a message through the episode of Chidadahi, where Nityananda Prabhu's role is enhanced. And then it says that how can you approach Chaitanya Mahaprabhu directly without coming to me? So he's saying that in case if you want to approach Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, then it has to be through Nityananda Prabhu. And then why we have to approach Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? Because he is the Yuga Avatar, and then his mercy is needed for all of us. By his mercy, then we will be able to take the name of the Lord correctly, properly. And then by taking the name of the Lord, then we will be closer to the Lord. So they are all here to help us reach Krishna. And in that, the hierarchy, the very first person who's next to the Supreme Lord is, in this case, it is Nityananda Prabhu. If it is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu we are talking about, then it is Nityananda Prabhu. So we can't approach the Lord directly. So we'll have to approach through the associates of the Lord. And in that, the foremost associate is Nityananda Prabhu. So we'll have to approach Nityananda Prabhu. So which means that we need to have the mercy of Nityananda Prabhu. How do we attract the mercy of Nityananda Prabhu? By celebrating his Nityananda Trayodasi, remembering him, and then always singing the glories of Nityananda Prabhu. Thereby, the mercy, they say, no, like there was a message recently that came, which said that because we had the appearance day of Advaita Acharya, where they said that on the appearance and the discipline days of these elevated personalities, if we glorify them, hear about them, and remember them, then their mercy is there with us. So without their mercy, we cannot approach further, or we can't make any progress. So now, Nityananda Trayodasi is coming, so we'll prepare ourselves. So today, by starting off this remembrance of Nityananda Prabhu, and thereby so that on that day, then we are completely based in the remembrance and the glorification of Nityananda Prabhu. And then with the proper understanding that his mercy is needed for me so that I can approach Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu I need so that I'll be able to move to Krishna. So they are all instrumental in helping me getting rid of my demoniac nature and enhancing my divine qualities. Both, see, one good thing is we have both these qualities in us. In the earlier days, it was in separate people, and then all these qualities existed in separate realms. In one planet, demons were there, other planet, asuras were there. And after that, in the same planet, both were there in the next yuga. And then in the Kali Yuga, it is said that both the qualities reside in one individual only. So, though it looks bad, but then good thing is that we can enhance those good qualities. So, even though we have so many negative, we also have good qualities. So, with that assurance, we can continue our journey of practicing or cultivating these by invoking the mercy of such personalities like Nityananda Prabhu, thereby help us move closer to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, which makes us chant or take the Lord's name with more surrender and then more purity, and then not get contaminated by all the negative things. Thereby, then our advancement is guaranteed. So even though the activity that we do is the same, but these things will help us change the consciousness with which we do those activities. What is the activity we're talking about? Chanting. So we might chant in a certain way, in a certain consciousness, but we will have to better it and better it. It is not like the 16 round has to become 32 and 64 and all that. Okay, that is also there. But then the most important thing is, what is the quality of the 16 round that I'm doing today? So was it better than yesterday? And then strive for it. And then striving for such things is good. It is divine. It is not demoniac, because we want to understand the Lord or be closer to the Lord. And when we cultivate this in this way, then the mercy begins to flow. And when the mercy begins to flow, then automatically whatever negative is there, that gets destroyed or pulled out or removed from us. So that way we become better and better. So on that note, Nityananda Prabhu, there is so much to talk about him. Let's try to set our mood right from today onwards so that we are able to open our ears for the glories of Nityananda Prabhu, who has done so many wonderful things. And then with the knowledge that his approval is needed for me to even go near Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And going near Chaitanya Mahaprabhu means mercy naturally is going to be there. We don't have to even go and then stand and ask anything. You just be there, and then in the line of that mercy, and then you will be bathed in the mercy. So you don't even have to ask or aspire or do anything. So in that way, we can position ourselves properly and make our life successful. So I'll stop here. I didn't cover on any pastime in detail because we didn't have time, but I hope that helps us set the mood. So I'll end here. If there are any questions or comments on whatever we discussed today with respect to demons and suras and asuras, and how the Lord is displaying these things and then showing the difference, Hiranyaksha and Lord both, demon and divine, and their mentalities, so which is a lesson for all of us. I'll stop here. If there are any comments or questions, please go ahead. Otherwise, thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, I want to ask something about this quota, what you said, no? We are all entitled to a certain amount of quota. Now, what you earn for yourself, what you get for yourself, apart from that, when you sort of when you receive things from others, like children, friends, all that is included in the quota?
Yes, it is included in the quota. Anything that comes on its own. It could be by way of gift. It could be by way of having a very small endeavor, or it so happened it just came your way. So it is because you have earned it through the quota, in the sense that you have that good karma and that is being paid out. So you are entitled for it. So you get it. That is why they say anything that comes on its own without much endeavor, without extensive endeavor or aggressive endeavor. That is why that aspect of passion is downplayed, because we might otherwise end up endeavoring too much. That is not accepted.
Yes.
So I hope that answers. Yeah.
Yes, yes. Well, sometimes when you don't want things, also sometimes when you receive it forcefully, so whether you should accept it or not.
Exactly. So what we don't want also is our quota, the good and bad. So we have a mixed bag of both. So when we are being told to accept good things without much endeavor, then we will also have to accept bad things without much endeavor. Endeavor in stopping it here in this case, because bad we want to stop. But that, see, by nature we are all not so elevated that we are able to accept everything. But at least theoretically, let us accept what is expected of us, and then strive for it. I'm not saying like from today onwards we'll become renunciate. Whatever you do, okay, I'll be like this
No,
only.
Prabhu. Actually, what happens sometimes unasked, you get things which the other person feels okay, like she'll be happy if I give this, but actually you don't need it. So can you accept and pass it on to somebody else without telling that person? So want it, because if the person gets no, it can hurt his or her feelings. So is it okay? You can give it to somebody who really needs it.
Yes, Mataji. Actually, it is allowed. It can be given, because once you accept something, you have accepted out of love. But then it also says that giving and taking. So once it is yours, then you are free to do whatever you want with it. It is not like, it is not binding. Any gift is not binding. No, you have to use it. You can give it to somebody whom you like. You will always give it. No, you can say you gave it to your brother, you gave it to your sister. Then they will not mind it so much. But if you say that I gave it off to somebody, that giving it off is considered as like, I didn't want it, so I gave it off. So that has to change. And we think in that mindset, so we are a little confused. But actually, yes, it can be given. And the person who is given has no right to ask, what did you do with it? It is
that's true.
If you recall the story of that cow, the king, and then he donated it again and all, then they say that it says that once you have given, it is done over. You have no right to ask, what did you do with it?
Yes. Okay, Prabhu. Thank you so much.
But then we'll have to be a little cautious. We can't hurt the sentiment of people, especially in the material world. So if they don't have that understanding, that it's going to upset them too much, then we will have to be a little more careful. So we can't just blindly say, okay, this is what is so, I'll do that. No, but we are also, we don't want to, ahimsa, no, we don't want to put that cause distress to somebody. So we'll have to be cognizant of that also. So there are many aspects that we'll have to balance.
But sometimes you don't want to hold things also, just holding things which you don't need. Let somebody else use it also, no? That's also better.
Correct. I see you are thinking like that. The person who gave it, who's also dear to you, whom you don't want to hurt, if they are not thinking like that, then what will you do? You will have to find some other way.
So that's a problem.
It's not a problem. We'll have to find some other way. Something will come up. Just that we'll have to be cognizant of all these things. We can't just take one thread and I'll say, oh, it has been told, I will do it. I don't care what you think, or if you are hurt, so be it. No, that also has to be balanced. Yeah. I mean, I know you didn't mean it like that. But since I'm speaking to a larger audience, I'm bringing out that aspect.
Yes, Prabhu, I understood. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Dandavat pranams, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Prabhuji, why it becomes a very, very difficult for devotees, Prabhuji, to be in the mode of goodness, Prabhuji? Only in the mode of goodness we can cultivate these qualities, because it becomes very difficult.
Because our other gunas are also equally powerful. No? So we are feeding. We have got both dogs, the black and the white dog. The analogy, So we feed both. Both of them bark, and then both of them try to achieve for supremacy. That is the demoniac nature. Also, we feed it. So in that, Maharaj was giving the answer of which wins when there are two dogs fighting. The one which is not fed properly, which is not sturdy, strong, which is not fed, that is the one which will lose out. So we should not feed those. negative things. So if we keep feeding them, then they become stronger and stronger. This is an understanding which is slightly contrary to the understanding that I become satiated. Let me do all this. I'll become satiated. Then I'll turn to this. No, with desires, it is the other way around. They never subside. You might feel satiated for some time, but then it comes back again in a more powerful way. So the only way you can make it, kill it out, is by pulling out from the root, and that pulling out from the root is not feeding it even once. So this is a very strong point that we should all be aware of. So we unconsciously feed it, and then we complain saying that, oh, this is affecting me and all that. So we'll have to starve the black dog and feed the bad dog, and then feed the good dog. So I hope you understood by this analogy.
So
what
true,
we're
Prabhuji. Well, very well I understood, Prabhuji, because this is what I have been experiencing. As you said, that line, that thing, desires won't be satisfied. That is very true.
Yeah.
Because we think that for a while, okay, we will enjoy watching a movie or something like that with the
That
kids,
is a
for the
bad
kids.
dog, actually.
So,
That is
but that
prompting
will
us.
drag us away, Prabhuji. That is
Yeah.
so true. But how can we cope up with the present situation, Prabhuji? Like wherein, in my case, like nobody's, I'm not saying that I'm a devotee, like I'm just practicing, Prabhuji, like the rest of the other people are not. So it becomes very difficult, Prabhuji. Odd one out in that situation.
Mataji,
Yeah.
I understand the situation. There are many ways of looking at it, and there are many solutions to it. While I understand the situation, it will not be appropriate for me to say, do like this. But I'll just give one guideline that will help us see, which is we cannot, I think, as practicing devotees, like you said, we are all not devotees. I am also practicing devotees. We are all practicing devotees. So, as practicing devotees, we should learn to say them and us, or not say them and us. The people who are on the other side are also equally dear to Krishna, like we are on this side. We are practicing doesn't mean that we have become special. At least that should not be the way. So then we reach out to them in the way they like. There might be certain things that they like, which can be aligned to Krishna consciousness, which is what is the need for them. So we become, by doing this them and us, we become blinded to all these things, or even those small good things that they do. We are not able to see it. So whatever is the solution that we implement, but first we will have to accept them, because they are our family members. They are the quota that is given. Isha Vasyam Idam Sarvam, and that is a quota that I've got taking the other discussion. Taking a leaf out of that other discussion. So they have been entrusted to me. I am the custodian for them. So let me take care of them. I may not like them. I might do things which are beyond, but then it's my karma. I've been given them. I'll have to take care of them. So let me take care of them in a way that it pleases Krishna, because it is Krishna's property. So when we develop this kind of a position, then our stance becomes a little more soft. I don't say we'll change overnight, but little soft. And then we also want them to advance. So like they say, if you're not surrounded by devotees, there are two things you can do. You can go in search of devotees, or you can make people who are surrounding you as devotees. So that's another option. It's a lateral thinking. We should also look at it that way. So they may not be devotees in the standards that we have said. Then they also are God-loving, God-fearing. They also have their own this thing. So give them that space, and then they will be a little more favorable to us, and they will not be so hostile. Because generally, it starts with this negativity and hostility. They say, "Oh, you people don't do this," and then they say, "You people don't do this," and then there's a difference. The rift becomes wider and wider. So we should know when to see this difference and when not to see this difference of devotee, non-devotee. I'm not saying go and associate with everybody, not that way. But whomever we have, especially family members, there I think we will have to not see it too much, and try to be as inclusive as possible. So that way we will have a better advantage in bringing them closer, or whatever it is. So I'm not talking about any specific method, but I'm saying what could be or what can be our consciousness, which will help us in whatever we decide to do.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. In thinking in that way, also sometimes it becomes a problem. Like Prabhuji, thinking that they are the property of the Lord, and taking too much care, giving too much care for them, and and thinking that it is our prescribed duty.
No,
So, but that
Mataji,
is
1
also
minute.
not.
I'm interrupting you. 1 minute. As a mother, taking very good care doesn't mean overfeeding the child. You don't stuff the child 2 meals because the child missed the meal. It is like you will cause harm to the child rather than anything. So we should know how much we have to feed. And that is a motherly thing. It comes naturally. So how much they can take, that much only we have to give. We have some intelligence. We have some, Krishna has given us that intelligence. He will give it even if we don't have it now, because we are having that mood to approach them in that way. Or we can consult and then know how much we can do. So somewhere or the other, that information will be made known to us. We don't have to worry much, but we will know that I cannot give too much. In the same way, like how you can't starve too much or stay away, at the same time, you can't go all out and then say that I will, oh, how much to give? I keep on giving them and all that. We can't overdo that also. So we have to be very balanced. I hope that
Sure,
answers the
Prabhuji.
question.
Yes,
I don't know.
Prabhuji. True, Prabhuji. So that means that the devotional service is not the prescribed duties. They does not come under the prescribed duties. So that is must, and it's a must for everybody.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that is
All
Prabhuji.
the Maharaj have insisted and said that. In fact, Prabhupada himself has said, when one Mata, she had a child, he said, your greatest service to Krishna is to make your child, take care of the child first. Make the child KC, but then before that, you take care of the child. Now, first you give it what it needs and make him big and strong and intelligent. Then KC, then it is okay. So the mother has to be, she said, Prabhupada very clearly said in those days, even if your services to the temple are affecting, never mind, because you are doing a higher service, which is taking care of your child, which is given by Krishna to you, which is again custodian, Ishavasyam, everything is aligning there.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Dandat Pranam. Hare Krishna. Very much benefited. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Prabhu. Today you have taken those 5 shlokas and then connecting it to the Ishavasyam Idam Sarvam. And also clearing our doubt about the quota, the word quota, because we always have that doubt. What is our quota? So you have given a very nice example of the money which is fallen out from the pocket of a person and how we should, treat with it, like how we should, do it, like in that kind of case. Yeah. So thank you so much, Prabhu. Hari Bol.
Hare
Shall we?
Krishna Prabhuji. Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Just one more note. See exactly
Prabhu.
how to know that it is our quota. Many times it will be a confusion.
We will know what is coming is our quota. Not to know what is my quota and seek it out. Whatever comes
Like we
is
keep on trying, we keep on trying. We have 1 crore. We want to try for 2nd crore.
Yeah.
Is it as a quota we try, or 1 crore should be thought as our quota and keep quiet?
It depends on the endeavor. It depends on the stage of life we are in. That is why this Varnashrama is there. It's a long answer, actually. This 1 crore is very relative. 1 crore, when a person is in his 20s, he or she might definitely decide to further it and all that. And that is by way of their dharma, they are trying to safeguard and make it grow. But somebody who's in his 75 years old and then 1 crore, he wants to make it 5 crore for what it is. So then it becomes not a very good activity. So that is why our Varnashrama is there, where it says that wherever you state you belong, position you are in, there it will depend. So it is relative. Just 1 crore it's nothing. It might be less or it might be more. And whether to keep quiet about it or continue to strive for it, we will know actually if we use our logic, and then if you understand what the Varnashrama is meant, and then if we hear from Prabhupada and the Acharyas what they are saying and why they are saying that, if you try to connect all these dots together, then we will know, okay, now I am 60 plus. Of course, my endeavor, okay, I have X amount. So now I'll have to see how I can use this, or I have to protect it, guard it, and then take it forward, because this is not my age to endeavor too much. Whereas that endeavoring age is there, and then at that time you would have endeavored, and then which is okay. And there also, even in that endeavor also, there are guidelines on what businesses you will do and what you will not do. Many things are there like that. So this is not. It's a very relative thing. It's not an absolute thing that okay, if you hit this, then don't endeavor. Not like that. So it depends on our position, and it also depends on your need. Also, somebody might need that something else badly. There's somebody, a 70-year-old might still endeavor for another crore because he wants to use it for construction of a temple. So it will depend on what use you are putting it to also. So there are many aspects to this. It can't be like just that one statement, should I endeavor or not? No. So we'll have to consult, we'll have to talk, we'll have to hear, and then we have to consult our spiritual leaders and then see what they are saying and then just do as per that. I hope that answers the question.
Yes, Prabhuji. One more. Suppose I lose 4-5 lakhs. Should I feel that it is not mine, I have taken, so it has gone? Keeping quiet.
Anything that we have lost, it means that I didn't deserve it. Or my karma was such that it has to go somewhere and it is gone.
Prabhuji, one short question. If you find some on the road, if there's no owner, nobody claims for it, you can give it to a temple. Is it fine?
Exactly. That means then you are acknowledging that it belongs to Krishna. That is why they say, no, you find some note there, you put it in the hundi. Because otherwise, I'll end up buying bad things from that and then take the karma of it. That's a very nice point actually you brought out. Thank you for that.
Yes, I came across. I did that once, that's why. I did that once, that's why I'm asking you.
Yeah, when we were children, we were told that you find some note, you found that 1 rupee or something, put it in the hundi, they'll say. My granny or any elder used to say that. We used to wonder why they are saying that. What is the point? But then we used to do it because they said it. So thereby they protected us, So nice.
Yes, so one more thing. There was one servant who was working in our place. So due to COVID, she had gone off. And came back, she said, I'll come and take your salary. So we kept her salary aside. Up to now, she has not come. We met her also on the road. She said, I'll come. So we said, within this time, if you don't come and take it, we'll give it to the temple. So what to do about that? We don't want to keep somebody's money also, no?
Yeah, but that is again, you will have to see. You have to either give it to her, means then otherwise, then you will have to use it for the temple. That's okay. But if she still comes again, then you should be able to give it again.
Yeah, obviously.
Yeah. So it doesn't mean that, no, now I have given it to the temple. No, I won't give you. Now you go. You can't say that because you'll have to.
Yeah, yes.
Yeah, I mean, you know what to do. I mean, you just ask
Yes.
but yeah.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. So it's 10:57. Next session has to start at 11 o'clock. We'll end
God,
here.
sorry,
Prabhu. Yeah. So fine. We will do Vaishnav Pranam mantra and then we will end. Yeah. Vancha kalpatarubhescha
Thank you all.
Shall I end the session, Prabhu?
Please go ahead, Mataji. Sorry for
Hare
taking.
Krishna. No, Prabhu. It was a very enlightening session. Hare